And they're twinsies. Wait, which one's the alpha? Wait.
Good morning. On behalf of the Cassadaga Valley Board of Education, our students and staff, and certainly the parents and residents of all of our towns and villages, it is certainly my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this opening ceremony for the 75th anniversary celebration of the centralization of the Cassadaga Valley Central School District. Today we begin a celebration that will last for 3 days, that will be as a part of the 2013-14 school year, a celebration of the process that combined 31 separate school districts into one centralized school district 75 years ago in the years 1938 and 1939. We're honored to have the Cassadaga American Legion Post 1280 Honor Guard here this morning to present our colors. I introduce you to my right, Alyssa Merrill, a member of the Cassadaga Valley class of 2014, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Upon the completion of the pledge, we will ask you to go right into, as the Cassadaga Valley students, Haley Dahl, Caitlin Dahl, and Isabella Ruiz, sing our national anthem. We will now begin with the pledge. Please remove your hats and the national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched, where the gallant fleet streamed, and the racket guard was, seven foot in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say just as star-spangled banner yet waves o'er the land of the free and the
Very briefly this morning, I would like to remind us of what it is that brings us to this point today as a school community. With apologies for my outright plagiarism, I'm going to read a bit of the introduction, which actually appears in the booklet which celebrated the 50th anniversary of our school district. And I'm going to quote, "Today, as you travel Route 60 near Sinclairville, signs announce the entrance to the Cassadaga Valley Junior Senior High School, which overlooks a large part of the valley and its hills. The tranquility of this 100-acre-plus campus contradicts the hostility of 50 years ago, 75 years ago, when conflict and resistance of the valley people almost prevented its very being. It is necessary to pause and reflect on the beauty of this fine building, its settings, and magnificent design with model brick and stone trim facade. For 75 years, it has welcomed frightened and excited students, giving them roots to grow and learn, wings when they depart, that they might continue to develop and explore. Down through the years, this edifice has paid tribute to those responsible for its existence. The American flag that was displayed at each individual school district that was encompassed in the centralization has flown proudly in the front mall, unchanged except for the addition of 2 stars. It is still home to the Valley people who return and take time to reflect and remember in memory the carefree days of childhood with squawking swings and tolling school bells, teenage years with echoes of football games, marching bands, and busy hallways. Memories which allow them to walk once more up the familiar steps, open the door, and step inside. As you enter the lobby of the high school and tilt your head slightly upward, the 1939 engravings in the white plaster still boldly proclaim the 31 individual school districts that became the Cassadaga Valley Central School District. The left wall list includes Sinclairville, Edson, Gary Hill, Ellsboro, Farmer Street, Pickard Hill, South Stockton, Centralia, Pleasant Valley, and Warren. The front wall lists Stockton, Goodrich, Gary, Kimball, Gary Holmes, Bulger, Towerville, Adam, White, and Seeley. The right-hand wall lists Torrey, Thornton, Beechwood, Pickett, Charlotte, Cassadaga, Lilydale, Munger Hill, Briggs, Burnham Hollow, Luce Hill. That introduction in that booklet 50 years ago continues with the opening of the new school, students in grades 7 through 12 were transported by buses to its facility. Elementary students remained in the individual schoolhouses, but low enrollment and high maintenance costs were a constant threat to their survival. Low enrollment and high maintenance costs, a constant threat to schools, even back in 1938. It would appear that at least in education, the more things change, the more they remain the same. And there's one thing that I'm very, very proud of the fact that has remained the same. I can tell you that as your superintendent, I'm very proud of what continues to remain the same here at the Cassadaga Valley Central Schools for the past 75 years, is the pride that our communities here in our school system take in the care of and the care for our kids. I can tell you that without question, in my 30 years as an educator, the students and staff in this building, the adults in this building, the staff down over the hill at Sinclairville, each of you, the parents and the residents of our communities, I can tell you no one does a better job for 75 years of caring for and caring about our kids. Second to none in that regard. I think that is the tradition that should be most remembered here at the Valley. I know that I feel blessed to be your superintendent at this time of our school district's 75th anniversary, and I look forward with certainty to coming back as a visitor, mind you, to visit 100 years from now the centralized Cassadaga Valley schools, still caring for our kids in a fashion that is second to none. Thank you. It's now my privilege to introduce to you an individual who has been integral to the success of our schools, as he has served 18 years and counting as a member of the Board of Education. Please welcome with me the current Board of Education President, Mr. Carl Perry.
Good morning, and thank you all for coming to the opening ceremony for the celebration of 75 years of working together in the Cassadaga Valley Central School District. 75 years ago, in September of 1938, a vote was taken that would centralize the surrounding one-room schoolhouses to create one large educational system. This was done at the urging of the State Education Department. The vote passed, and Cassadaga Valley Central School was born. Many changes have taken place since that time. Many of our staff over the years have dedicated their entire careers to Cassadaga Valley, and thousands of students have attended our classes, eventually leaving our halls with a high school diploma. Some of our graduates have taken the knowledge and experiences they had gained from Cassadaga Valley to other locations. Some have chosen to remain here in the Valley, transitioning from students to parents and residents. Others have moved on only to return. Regardless of the individual paths we have chosen and roles we have filled, we all are and will always be part of the Cassadaga Valley Central School family. 75 years of parents, residents, faculty, staff, and students working together have brought us to where we are today. As our superintendent, Mr. Smith, often emphasizes, all of us working together is necessary to take us to where we want and need to be in the future. We are dedicating two important pieces of Cassadaga Valley history this morning. First, on the back wall, we are dedicating a plaque to those dedicated men and women who either attended Cassadaga Valley Central School or taught here and served their country with honor to protect our freedoms. The plaque reads, "Dedicated to all CVCS students and faculty for their military service." Before we move on, please join me in thanking all students, faculty, and staff members that have served, and remembering those that have passed with a few seconds of reverent silence. Thank you. Second, the school bell that began its life at the Cassadaga High School on South Main Street in Cassadaga and served as the high school bell from 1909 until 1939, at which time the building became the Cassadaga Elementary School. It was moved to a new location on Maple Avenue in Cassadaga after the elementary school was completed and recently placed here as a reminder of a piece of our history. I'd like to thank all the employees who worked very hard constructing this memorial, and especially thank all of the committee members for their time and effort in organizing the events that will follow. This ceremony begins the weekend to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the CVCS district. We invite all former and current students, staff, and residents of CVCS and their guests to join us for our festivities this weekend. Thanks again. Have a great weekend.
I'm pleased to introduce to you at this time Mr. Carl Lawson and the members of the Cassadaga American Legion Post number 1280 Honor Guard, who will now conduct the dedication ceremony of the new plaque, as Mr. Perry mentioned, presented today by the members of the 75th Anniversary Committee and the original Cassadaga High School bell. Mr. Lawson.
Good morning. On behalf of the membership of Cassadaga Memorial Post 1280, the American Legion, thank you for the opportunity to dedicate this Veterans Plaque and the old Sinclairville School Bell. The plaque is dedicated in memory of those from the Valley who offered their lives so justice, freedom, democracy might survive to be the victorious ideals of the peoples of the world. It is dedicated to all the Cassadaga Valley military veterans, past and present, who serve America in times of war, yielding their last measure of devotion. May we all serve America in times of peace.
Good morning. Let's pray. This day we remember before you all who served in the armed forces of our nation. Protect and defend them in the day of battle, and in the time of peace grant that they may serve with honor and dignity, both to your great glory and to the credit of this nation. We ask also that you will watch over the veterans of this land, inspiring them to serve you in this country in ever new and creative ways. Comfort our ill and wounded comrades who languish in hospitals or homes. Lighten their burdens, relieve their suffering and pain. Restore to them the blessings of health again. We pray also for all those who have given their lives in the service of our country, and for those, our fellow veterans, who have served this nation both in time of battle and in time of peace, are now at rest. Grant them your peace. May light perpetual shine upon them. May the good work which you have begun in them be brought to perfection, that this land may prosper and that there may be a lasting peace throughout all our world. All this we ask you, Almighty Creator, in your name. Amen.
As we conclude today's ceremony, just a couple of brief announcements, and at the risk certainly of missing some individuals, I will not list names, but there are a number of thank yous that I'd like to offer as we begin our 3 days of celebration. Certainly my thanks to the Board of Education for their leadership and support of this district. My thanks to the Cassadaga Legion for their participation in today's ceremony. My thank yous to the committee that has worked for well over a year, I think going on 18 months, to plan this event for our school and our community. Certainly my thanks to our chairperson, Sally Lawson, who has led this event tirelessly. By way of explanation also, please note that the temporary presentation of the plaque that the committee is dedicating today will simply be on the school wall there until funds are raised, hopefully as a result of some of the proceeds from events this weekend, funds are raised to construct a permanent flagpole here where an American flag can be displayed behind the school. That plaque then will be brought off the wall and be made a part of that monument at that point in time. As we conclude the ceremony, if anyone would like a tour of this middle high school this morning, we'll meet you right over there at that entrance. Mr. Zangian will lead us on that tour. There will also be tours provided on Saturday at 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. If you'd like to come back and tour the middle high school at that point in time, you're welcome to do so. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, our Seaview Cougars are in action in their last home football game of the year. We certainly wish them well. Tomorrow afternoon, evening, one of the Valley favorite meals, favorite dinners will be available. Mashed potatoes, hamburger gravy, some other fixins, if you will be available at 4:30 and then again at 5:30 tomorrow. If you'd like tickets to that event, please contact the middle high school office, and also tickets will be available at the door. Excuse me. 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow evening in the J. Arthur France Auditorium will be once again an alumni community band choral event led by Mr. Greger, Mr. Cross, longtime veteran teachers, 33 years here at Cassadaga Valley. Certainly want to acknowledge and appreciate their leadership in that event. Then from 8:30 to 10:30, the prom will take place, as you recall it from back in the day, over here in our small high school gymnasium. And then the celebration at this point in time will end on Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. with once again in the J. Arthur France Auditorium at 10:30 a.m. an ecumenical service, followed by a brunch offered here in the cafeteria. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully at all of those events this weekend. So once again, my thanks to you, particularly to the students, for your attendance this morning. One of the things that I hope that you recognize here as students, that long after you graduate from here, although you may not recognize it at this point in time, as you notice the recent graduates, the more recent graduates, and even some graduates from a long time ago, if that's the nice way to put it, you will always have a very special, fond place in your heart, despite the homework you have to go in and do at this point in time, for the Cassadaga Valley Middle High School. I hope to see you here as students 25 years from now, and perhaps even we can extend this on out to a 125-year celebration. Thank you for your attendance. At this point in time, we conclude the ceremony. And as I said, if you would like to take a tour of the building at this point in time, we'll see you over there at that entrance.
Evan? Yes.